Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com with If I Could Choose Only One Work by Composer X. It would have to be work, Tzaddik. Let's stick with the Hebrew alphabet, shall we? Well, Composer X is Zoltan Kodály, and work Tzaddik is not Hari Janos. No, it's not. I know you want it to be. I kind of want it to be. Such a delightful piece, but in many ways a little bit atypical of his work. I mean, it is and it isn't. The suite is, in that it's like a purely instrumental thing. And if you're really going to do Kodály justice, you would have to pick a choral work, some sort of vocal choral thing. But those also are not well known outside of Hungary, and they still need to be discovered. I sang some of his choral music when I was in my high school glee club and whatnot. We had a director who was very interested in Kodály and his work, and they are beautiful pieces. Oh my goodness. I mean, his folk song arrangements and choral works, and his Veni Emmanuel, which for 3-part choir, which just blew me away. Just a great master of vocal music, folk music settings. And so I wanted something that kind of encapsulated his folk roots, but also allowed him to expand in a more abstract way. And so instead of Hari Janos, I chose as work Tzaddik the Peacock Variations. And the Peacock Variations is just a huge masterpiece of orchestral writing, 20th century orchestral writing, based on a Hungarian folk tune. I am a peacock, or the peacock is doing something, or, Godzilla meets the peacock. I have no idea what the peacock is doing, but it's a big deal. And the tune is absolutely wonderful, and the variations are endlessly inventive and beautifully scored, but it's also a very sad work. It was a work of protest, a work of Hungarian nationalist feeling. Remember, at a time when it was under Soviet domination. I mean, now Hungary is under self-domination, which is, almost as bad, it seems. But there you go. That's the extent of my political involvement in these things. All I know is that Kodály, stayed when Bartók left. He was an ardent patriot. And the Peacock Variations is a glorious piece of orchestral writing that really should be better known. It's one of those pieces that's gotten a lot of attention on recordings because you can do a Kodály disc. There's a handful of orchestral pieces. You've got the dances of Marashek and the dances of Galanta, and you've got the Peacock Variations and the Hari Janos suite, and then you've got, Summer Night and the Concerto for Orchestra and the Symphony in C, and that's sort of it. You can get just about everything he wrote orchestrally on like 2 discs. There's the Hari Janos Overture, which never gets played, or the Overture to a theatrical thing, or whatever it's called. There's 2 discs worth of stuff, basically. And so when you do a Kodály disc, the Peacock Variations often pops up because it is in many ways his greatest and most important orchestral work. Certainly, I think the one that shows the greatest depth of feeling. And so I'm urging you all to go listen to it. And frankly, if the evil god Kankrasans decides to eliminate all of classical music, but for 1 piece per composer, I would have to insist that the Peacock Variations be the one that represents Kodály, even if it's not a vocal work. I would say to Kankrasans, look, this gives you the essence of his feeling for the Hungarian musical tradition and nation. However, we cannot be robbed of all of those other choral pieces that we have yet to have an opportunity to really digest and experience. So they must be permitted to survive. And we can't lose Hari Janos. Oh my goodness. Who could even imagine such a thing? I've played Hari Janos a couple times. Oh God, it's more fun, especially if you're a percussionist. Oh my word. I mean, it's just delicious. You just wish he'd written more orchestral pieces, but that wasn't where he was at, and it wasn't the stuff that turned him on, or where he decided he wanted to go. And he was one of those composers who really knew what he was good at. He knew what his gifts were, and he exploited them to the fullest. And one of those fullest exploitations in his rare forays into orchestral music was without a doubt the Peacock variations. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.